Harihi Om. Sai Ram. Namaskar, Vandanam, Vanakkam, Assalamu Alaikum, and Sat Sri Akal. Fantastic. We looked at love, we looked at peace, we looked at truth. When you have all these three, the resultant consequence is right action or right conduct, what you know as dharma, right? Now, let's look at right action. Because of the, everybody says, well, what is right? Because one man's meat is another man's poison. So what is right action? Because it's all a question of perspective, isn't it? So how do we approach this from a spiritual perspective? From a spiritual point of view, it's actually all encompassing. Right action in your thoughts, right action in your words, and obviously right action in your action, right conduct, right behavior, So right speech, right conduct, behavior, action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, right resolve, right view, right perspective, right vision. Like Buddha says, samyak drishti, right vision. So either you have right thoughts, which will give you right speech, which will give you right actions, or you don't. You cannot have one, and not have the others, or you cannot have the others and not have the one. They need to exist and coexist with each other. So you cannot have right action without love. You cannot have right action without peace, and you definitely cannot have right action without truth, right? You cannot have any one of them at the expense of the others. That's why they go together: love, peace, truth, right action, and non-violence. Remember, I said Satyam Vada Rigveda is followed swiftly by Dharmam Chara. So, right conduct always follows truthfulness or right action. I think it was J. Krishnamurti, the great J. Krishnamurti, and someone sent me something on WhatsApp the other day that was, J. Krishnamurti talking about something. It was quite profound. So when I was thinking about truth, I thought I'll narrate a little incident with J. Krishnamurti instead of telling you the usual story, but that itself is a story. J. Krishnamurti once was asked about, being vegetarian and non-vegetarian and by eating meat and so on and so forth. So he said, eat meat or don't eat meat, but just get on with it. Even vegetables have a life. So he said, and the people were wondering, well, what do you mean? Well, if I say the core of spirituality is non-violence, but I have to kill something in order for me to survive, then I have set myself up for an internal conflict between the idea and a conclusion that I have accepted from someone else that, I cannot kill, a behavior that I have to control as a result. See, what Krishnamurti was trying to do is point out the state of acceptance of right actions by themselves. A bird will eat a worm. When the bird dies, the worms will eat the bird. The right action. That is the law of nature. That is the law of universe, right? Think people are born, people die. That's a balance. There's day, there's night. There's right, there's wrong. There's positive, there's negative. So right action meaning, if something has to be done because that is the right course of nature, that is the right cycle of life, then it doesn't make a difference whether you do it or you don't, because that's the right thing to do. You understand? You put yourself in a position where you yourself question the rightfulness of your actions, and therefore you get into a conflict in your mind. So you decide this is not right action, that is wrong action, and all of that. J. Krishnamurti, fantastic, So, whatever you do, you have to come to an understanding that your state of mind is correct. And when your state of mind is correct or right, all the actions that come out of it will also be right actions, correct actions. Once you get to that state of thinking, conscious effort is resultant without any extra effort on your part, because you're always caught up in a web of self-deceit. self-aggrandizement, self-importance. You are stuck within the domains of the ego, which will never free you from free judgment. Free judgment, which will always, tie you in condemnation, give you upsetting news, or give you fear, which of course will put you in a situation of conflict and suffering. So right action, J. Krishnamurti says, and also, if I can add here, right, the Manusmriti, the Manusmriti also says, right action is right thinking. When your thinking is correct and your thinking is right, the actions will be right. Confucius said, right action is better than knowledge, but in order to do what is right, we must know what is right, and to know what is right, your thinking must be right. And even Krishnamurti himself says, right action is when the right people do the right thing for the right reason at the right time. That about sums right action. Interesting. Nature supports right action. The universe revolves on the rightness of everyone's actions. So, for your actions to be right, your thinking has to be right. Till I see you next week. Stay blessed.